All right, so if you're not already, you might just want to get settled on your mat. Maybe you want to start sitting, maybe you want to start lying down. Either way is totally fine. And as always, I want to encourage you to really every practice, no matter what specific intention we might be working with, really every practice and as an opportunity to really honor your present moment circumstances. So just taking liberty to move in a way that feels right for you today, even if it means you're doing things a little bit differently in the way I'm describing them. So we're going to return to this sequence, kind of doing a lot of back bends, working towards camel pose. So we'll see how that feels today. So you might choose to close your eyes. You might keep your eyes open. And just a moment or a few moments to really just gather and focus your attention. Maybe you start with a kind of inner orientation if that feels possible. So that could be an awareness of sensation or movement inside the body. Sometimes I like to go right into the sensation in the hands. Maybe noticing the breath. If you're able to observe the breath right now, perhaps with your next exhalation, just following that breath and letting it guide you all the way down into the ground. Really just settling, surrendering the weight of the body into the earth. And just to explore, I think one of the things that our practice can invite us to do is to just kind of set down our armor from time to time. And so I don't mean to say that it's definitely not an expression of weakness, but quite the opposite, really an opportunity to see ourselves kind of in the power of our hearts. And so the ways that we armor ourselves are, there's some personal and some universal ways. And I've been kind of talking the last few classes about judgment, how we might judge ourselves, maybe judge others. So you might just create a little space for yourself right now to sense if you're aware of habitual ways you armor yourself. And it's not to say that that's not a useful thing to do from time to time, but maybe just inviting yourself as you move and breathe on your mat today to explore what it would feel like to set that down and to really see what power is revealed in that process. So with your next exhalation, you might tip your head forward, just bowing your head. If your eyes were closed, you could open the eyes. And then maybe lift your gaze forward, and let's just focus on the breath together for a moment, if that feels possible to do. So breathing in and out through the nose. Perhaps noticing the sound, letting the sound of that breath really fill your ears. Noticing the sensation of that breath through the nose. Maybe it's moving across the back of the throat. You might feel that movement in the torso. You might even be aware of movement in the pelvic floor, that inhalation, a kind of natural spreading and expanding. The exhalation, a natural kind of lifting and toning. So there's really this deep kind of inner strength that's here. Over the next few breaths, you might start to feel that, if you can, feel that lifting of pelvic floor and drawing in below the navel, and maybe even maintaining that engagement as you inhale. Maybe rising a little taller, just fully inhabiting the space of this moment. Perhaps sensing the lightness, the spaciousness, the freedom of setting aside the weight of your armor for a moment. Another breath, just following the exhalation all the way down into the ground, deep into the core of the body. And then let's inhale, just circle the arms up and overhead. And you can play with your arm position overhead. So it might be more forward, it might be wider, it might be more backward. Just see what works today. And I kind of like to reach through the right side, reach through the left side, just kind of working up out of the waist. Just exploring whatever space is here in this moment. And then as you find your next exhale, let's turn to the right. So maybe right hand behind you, left hand to right knee. And then releasing the buttocks flesh down, drawing the belly in, rising through the armpit chest, inhaling. Maybe exhaling a little bit, leaning back. So drawing the back of the skull back, the shoulder blades down. And then releasing it on the inhale, circling the arms up. And other side. Exhale, turning to the left, just left hand on the floor behind you, right hand to your left knee. And breathing in here. Breathing out, maybe that drawing of the back of the skull back, shoulder blades down, front ribs in. And then inhale, lifting the arms, maybe looking up, reaching up. And then just bringing the arms down, just sitting up nice and tall. Okay, let's roll onto our backs for a moment. And when you get onto your back, just feet on the floor, maybe comfortably close to your sitting bones. Okay, and then you could cross your right ankle on your left thigh. We're just gonna have a reclined pigeon stretch. So maybe you hug the legs in, maybe you keep the left on the floor. You might even like to stretch your left leg up to the sky. I like to kind of rock a little bit, roll a little bit here. Let's find another breath. So just receiving the fullness of the inhale, right? Exploring whatever space is here. The fullness of the exhale, or really the completeness of the exhale, drawing the belly in. So again, that exhalation might be an invitation to really feel the strength in the core of the body. And then from that strength and that connection to the earth, maybe a sense of freedom to expand a little bit, to feel the space that's here without the armor, if that feels possible. One more exhale. And then let's place, if the left foot is lifted, place it down, place the right foot down. And then same thing on the other side. So left ankle on right thigh. You can hug your legs in. You might even stretch your right leg up or keep it bent, whatever works today. And I like to, like I said, kind of move a little bit, always exploring, personalizing how you move and breathe. Another breath, inhaling. Another breath, exhaling. And then if the right foot is lifted, let's place it down and place the left foot down as well. And then we'll inhale here, just preparing for Setu Bandhasana, and then exhaling, elevating the hips, using the strength of the legs and the glutes to lift the hips. And even here, I kind of like to shift my weight a little bit side to side and kind of work up on top of the shoulder blades, or I'm sorry, on top of the shoulders. Another breath, just sensing the fullness of the inhale, expanding. And then exhale, lower the hips, all the way down. Good. Let's stretch both legs up to the ceiling. And it doesn't mean they have to be straight, but you might hug your legs in and reach up. And then I have my arms kind of reaching away from the legs, palms together. And then as you inhale, just really opening and expanding, lengthening the arms and the legs and the torso. And then on the exhale, lifting the head and shoulders, turning to the right, hovering the left leg. Good. And then inhale, come back to the starting position. And then exhale to the other side. So lifting and turning to the left, hovering the right leg. Inhale back to the center. Exhale, curling to the right, hovering the left leg. Good. Again, inhale back to the center. Exhale, lifting and curling to the left, hovering the right leg. Inhale back to the center. And again, exhale, lift and reach to the right, hovering the left leg. This time we're going to stay here. Inhale. Stay here, curl in a little more. Exhale. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, lift and reach to the left, and then stay for the inhale. So just a lengthening of the legs. Stay for the exhale, curling in. And then inhale, squeeze the legs back together, coming down. And then exhale one more time, nice and slow, lifting, curling to the right. Stay for the inhale, reaching through the legs. So see if you can expand a little bit. And then the exhale, deepening to the belly, to the earth. And then inhale, releasing it back to the starting position. One more time to the left. Exhaling, curling in, hovering the right leg. Stay and breathe. So see if you can expand a little with the inhalation. Maybe deepen. It's just a feeling of deepening maybe with the exhalation. And then inhale, coming back to the center. Exhale, touching the feet to the floor, resting your arms in a way that's going to work for you right now. And then inhale, arching the back gently, feeling that depth in the groin, that broadening of the abdomen. And then exhaling, elevating the hips again, Setu Bandhasana. If you'd like to lift and stretch your right leg up to the ceiling, you can do that. Just reach it up. And then you might have a breath to, if you have one leg lifted, to really engage with the foot that's on the floor and lift the hips. One more inhale, and then foot down and hips down, exhaling. Good. Let's lift the legs now into that 90-degree bend position with the knees right up over the hips. Draw the legs together. Scoop below the navel, but then open the back of the pelvis by engaging transverse abdominals, wrapping the outer hips or the hip points towards the navel. Hands behind the head. If you'd like to add the movement, you just inhale here. Exhale, right elbow and left knee come together as the right leg hovers. And then inhale back to the starting position. Exhale, left elbow and right knee, hovering left leg. Inhale back to starting position. Exhale, right elbow and left knee, hovering right leg. Inhale back to starting position. Exhale, left elbow and right knee, hovering left leg. Inhale back to starting. 2 more cycles, really slow. Exhale, right elbow to left knee. Now stay here. Find space to inhale and the feeling of deepening exhale. And then inhale back to the starting position. Exhale, left elbow to right knee. Stay for an inhale. Stay for an exhale. Good. And then inhale back to center. One more time, slow on each side. Exhale, curl to the right elbow to left knee. Stay for the inhale and then affirm your inner strength, your grounding as you exhale. Inhale back to center. Exhale, last time, holding for that extra breath, left elbow to right knee. Stay for the inhale, stretching the left leg out. One more exhale. Good. Inhale, release it. Exhale, feet to the floor and arms in a position that's comfortable for you. Inhaling, a gentle arch of the back. Exhaling, elevating the hips, rising into Setu Bandhasana. Good. This time you have the option to stretch your left leg up to the sky or the ceiling. And then just really, if you have the one leg lifted, the engagement of the right leg really supporting you. The engagement of transverse abdominals here. Another breath, maybe stretching the left foot higher as you inhale. And then foot and hips all the way down. Exhaling a moment to just savor the support of the earth, right? Receiving it. Notice how just the act of receiving that support might ask you or invite you to soften and surrender that armor a little bit. What's resisting? Good. Let's stretch the legs out onto the floor in front of you. Maybe you stretch your arms away from your legs, reaching long, inhaling. And then we're going to bring the right leg up and clasp the hands onto the right leg, really anywhere as you exhale. So just holding the right leg, you could catch the toe, you could use a strap, you could just hold. Finding an inhalation. And so with that inhalation, you might reach through both of your legs, grounding your left leg, expanding your torso, and then keep the right leg vertical as you exhale, curling your head and shoulders up, knitting your navel down. So you're kind of moving the head towards the knee. And another breath here. Inhale, exhale, lifting up towards the right leg. And then inhale, rest your head and shoulders down. And then start to open that right leg to the right. And it can go out really any amount. And I think it's really useful to kind of be not so rigid here. So sometimes the left hip will want to lift and roll with the right leg. As long as that doesn't hurt your back, you can allow that to happen. And just breathe a little bit here. Another full inhale and an exhale, sinking into the ground, into the core of the body. And then inhale, squeezing that right leg back to the center. And then this time we're going to pull the leg in towards the head as you lift and bow towards the knee. So the first version, the leg was more vertical. This time squeezing it in, bowing in. And then inhale, rest the head. And exhale, release the right leg out to meet the left leg. Arms overhead, inhaling, stretching long. And then exhaling, bringing the left leg up, clasping the leg with the hands. And so we're going to start the first version. The left leg is going to stay pretty much vertical. The right leg is outstretched. A breath in. So maybe with that inhale, you imagine lengthening the legs and letting the breath expand to its fullness in the torso. And then exhaling, knitting the navel down, bowing the head to the knee. So it's kind of like you use your leg as a lever to pull and curl in towards it. One more breath, exhaling, curling in, and then inhale, rest the head and shoulders down. And as you exhale, let the left leg open to the left and just explore whatever amount of opening to the left is going to work for you today. And I really find it useful to keep that right leg engaged, but let the hip lift and roll with the leg a little bit. One more exhale, finding the core of the body, the support of the earth. And then inhale, squeezing that leg back to the center. And then this time, pulling the leg in as you bow the head to the knee, exhaling. And then inhale, resting the head down. And exhale, releasing the left leg all the way out. One more inhale just to stretch and lengthen long, front to back through the arms and legs. And then let's just bring the knees in and kind of drape the arms over the knees and have a breath or two here. Maybe rocking gently, staying still, see what works for you. One more full exhale here. And then let's come up onto our hands and knees, or I should say tabletop position. So you can roll up, you can roll to the side. See what works today. And just give yourself a moment. We're going to be doing the lunges and camel pose. So if it's helpful for you to have a blanket or a pillow or some padding under your knees, you might just want to have that at hand so that you can use it maybe even right here. So let's just start by, let's do a couple rounds of cat-cow. So breathing in, rolling the shoulders back, arching the back, looking up. Breathing out, curling in, drawing the belly in, rounding the back, bowing the head,
and tucking the tail. One more of those, just breathing in, rolling the shoulders back, arching the back, looking up, and breathing out, just scooping in, rounding, curling, and bowing in. You could move like that a couple more times, or you could kind of circle your hips around in one direction and then circle them around in the other direction. So you could just take a breath or two to move and feel into what's going to be good for you right now. Just starting to connect the breath and the movement in this orientation. And then eventually coming back to the center, we're going to rise into our high plank. And as always, you can do this on your knees with one or both knees on the floor. But whatever version is going to work for you right now, just lifting up, exploring it. And so we really have to call on that inner strength here. But so in a situation like this where it's more challenging, you can start to explore where there's rigidity, tension, hardening, and feel the difference between that and a deep kind of engagement. Deep engagement to the core of the body, which then lends itself more towards a kind of expansion and freedom. Just exploring that. One more inhale. And then let's lower all the way to our belly on the exhale. And then we're going to stretch the arms forward and the legs backward. So we're belly down. And then inhale, lift the arms and the legs. And it doesn't have to be a big lift, but we just lift up. Reaching front to back through the arms and legs. Just exhale, pull the elbows back and lift the chest like cactus arms. Inhale, stretch the arms forward again, straightening them. Exhale, pull the elbows back, bending, expanding chest. Inhale, stretching the arms forward. And again, exhale, pulling the elbows back. This time, stay here if you can, inhaling, and then lowering all the way down. Exhaling, softening the head and shoulders down. And a moment to just feel what it's like to surrender the weight of the body. Maybe that sense of spaciousness and even freedom. And then from here, we're going to rise into that high plank again. So you might come into tabletop first, or maybe right into high plank. See what's going to work right now. And breathing. Exploring here. Maybe you energize your legs a little bit, lift the inner thighs, imagine the outer hips wrapping down. So there can be these moments where you feel this awakening in the core of the body and its kind of natural relationship to this expansion, this freedom, this opening. Another inhale here. And then let's lower all the way down to the ground. Exhale. A little bit different this time. We're going to have the fingertips on the floor about shoulder width apart and kind of maybe even wider than the shoulders and the elbows bent to the side. So I have my fingertips on the floor, basically like a little wider than my yoga mat and about in line with my shoulders, about at that position. And then I'm just going to reach the legs back and down and inhale, press into my hands and lift the armpit chest up. And then exhale, just lower all the way back down. I'm reaching my legs back and down. Inhale, rising, lifting the chest up, pressing into the fingertips. Exhale, lowering all the way back down. One more time. Inhale, rising. So it's almost like from under the armpits, lifting up, lifting the collarbones, and then exhale, lowering all the way back down. And just a moment to rest and soften and observe. One more full exhale here. And then let's rise either tabletop or high plank on an inhale. And either child's pose or down dog on an exhale. And as always, it can be a combination. Remember, it's like the intention of intentions when we practice to really connect and honor our present moment experience. You might be pedaling your feet. You might have your knees bent if you're in down dog. Just seeing what's going to work for you right now. Maybe exploring what it would feel like to surrender the weight of the head here. Maybe exploring what it would feel like as you breathe to tap into that kind of core of the body supporting you. And maybe as you tap into it, as you start to feel it, explore it, a kind of expansion and opening. Even if it's just a feeling and not a movement or a change in your actual position. And then let's bring the feet to the hands and have a breath in just to lengthen and look up. So maybe hands touch the shins or the thighs, draw the belly forward, armpit, chest forward, and then exhale, release and bow all the way down. And then inhaling, rising all the way up, circling the arms maybe overhead. You could lean back, you can look up. And then arms down, exhaling. Good, let's breathe in, circle the arms up, maybe lean back and look up. And then exhale, drop the right arm and lean to the right. Just one full exhalation. And then inhale, rise and lift the right arm up to meet the left. And then exhale, drop the left arm and lean in. And then inhale, rise and lift the left arm. You might lean back and look up. Exhale, come up and over the hips, bow forward. Inhale, hugging and lengthening, looking up. Exhale, could be chaturanga or plank. Inhale, maybe up dog. Full breath in. Exhale, pulling from below the navel all the way up and back to downward facing dog. From here, just inhale, rise to your toes. Exhale, turn the knees and toes to the right, bend the knees, look under the right armpit, kind of sinking the hips to the left, opening the right side. One more exhale, surrendering the weight of the head. And then inhale, coming back to the toes, turning the knees and toes to the left, bending the knees, looking under the left armpit. And then inhale back to the center. And then exhale, just softening into down dog. Let's bring the feet to the hands and lengthen, look up, inhale. Exhale, release and bow. Inhale, rise and circle the arms up and overhead, maybe lean back, look up. And then arms widen down, just arriving here in your fullness as you exhale. So we're gonna build on that, add things to it. So inhale, let's circle the arms up. You might like to interlace your fingers, pointer fingers pointing up, stretching up. And then exhale, arms together, leaning to the right. It's okay to do the side bend like we just did before with the one arm dropping as well. And then inhale, rise back to the center. And exhale, leaning to the left. Inhale, back to center. You might have that as an opportunity to lean back and reach up. And then exhale, release and bow over the legs all the way. Inhale, just hugging in, scooping the belly, lengthening, looking up. Exhale, could be chaturanga or plank. And then maybe up dog, inhaling, pulling back to down dog, exhaling. Good, let's press, lift and reach the right leg up and back. Inhale. And then pull the right knee to the right elbow or shoulder as you exhale and come forward over your hands. Inhale, reach that right leg up and back again. Exhale, curling out over the hands, pull the knee to the nose, coming forward on the exhale. Inhale, reaching back again. And then exhale, pulling the right elbow. I'm sorry, I always do that. The right knee to the left elbow. Good. Inhale, reaching back again. And then exhale, downward facing dog, right foot coming down. Let's do the other side. Left leg lifting, reaching, rising as you breathe in. Exhale, pulling the left knee to the left elbow. Inhale, pushing, stretching that leg up and back again. Exhale, pulling the knee to the nose, curling in. Good. Inhale, reaching that leg high again. And then exhale, pulling the left knee to the right elbow. And then again, inhale, reaching back and downward facing dog. Exhaling. Good. Let's bring the feet to the hands, lengthen and look up, breathing in. Bowing, releasing all the way down, breathing out. Let it be a gesture of humility, of surrendering. And then arriving in your power as you inhale, rising, circling the arms overhead, maybe looking up. And exhaling, arms wide and down, standing tall through the crown. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, circling the arms up. You can interlace your fingers, pointer finger pointing up. Exhale, leaning to the right. Inhale, rising back up. Exhale, leaning to the left. Inhale, coming back up. You might lean back and reach up. And then exhale, release and bow over the legs. Inhale, coming halfway up, lengthening, looking up. Exhale, stepping back, could be chaturanga or plank. Inhale, rise into up dog. Exhale, roll back into down dog. Good, and then right away, breathing in, right leg lifting high. Exhaling, right knee to right shoulder. Inhale, lifting back up. Exhale, right knee to nose, curling in. Inhale, reaching up again. Exhale, right knee to left elbow, pulling it across. And then inhale, lifting back up. Exhale, just downward facing dog, right foot coming down. Same thing, other side, left leg pressing, lifting, reaching on the inhale. Exhale, pulling left knee to left elbow. Inhale, reaching that left leg high again. Exhale, pulling the knee to the nose, curling in over the knee, over the hands. Inhale, reaching back again. And last time, pulling the left knee to the right elbow, exhaling. And inhale, stretching it high. Exhale, bringing the leg all the way down. Feel the fullness of that next exhalation to lift the belly, to bow the head. Right, so we're really just exploring again and again this process of surrendering the rigidity, the resistance, right, the armor, and then sensing and really arriving in the power that's here beneath that. So let's bring the feet to the hands, and as you breathe in, it's that gesture of lengthening and expanding and arriving, coming halfway up. And then breathing out, that releasing, surrendering, bowing. And then inhaling, circling the arms, arriving overhead, reaching up. And then standing up really tall, arms wide and down, just exhaling, inhabiting the space of this moment fully. Good, let's bend the knees and lift the arms overhead, inhaling, Utkatasana, really an expression of your power here. And then exhale, release and bow over the legs all the way. Inhale, hug the legs, lengthen, come halfway up. Exhale, fingertips down, step the right foot back, touch the right knee down. So we're gonna squeeze the legs in. So there is a sense of support and grounding in the legs, and let the arms reach and rise overhead. You might enjoy interlacing your fingers, pointer fingers up, to really use the arms to lift out of the backs and the sides of the torso, to lift under the armpits. One more inhale here. Maybe you lean back as you exhale. And then inhale, straightening back up. Exhale, you can bring the hands down, stepping into high plank or chaturanga or downward facing dog. So pick your transition with the breath if you can. Let's find one more exhale, just arriving in downward dog. And then inhale, press, lift, and reach with the right leg. So as you lift the right leg, draw the front ribs in. Let this be an opportunity to really open the back of the body, the sacrum, the kidneys, the backs of the ribs. And then exhale, step the right foot between the hands, touch the left knee down. Same thing, other side, just squeezing and grounding with the legs, circling the arms overhead. So there's an engagement of the legs, but it's not really a rigidity or a hardening. It's just kind of a steadying, supportive quality that guides you to the core of the body. Let's reach and rise up through the arms, maybe interlacing fingers, pointer fingers up, lifting out of the backs and the sides of the ribs. Another breath, maybe you're leaning back a little bit, sinking the hips in. And then inhale to start to rise out of that back bend. Exhale, hands to the floor, this time stepping the left foot forward, folding over the legs and coming halfway up. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhale, releasing, softening all the way down. Bending the knees, circling the arms overhead. Utkatasana, inhaling. And then arriving here in your fullness. Exhaling, arms wide and down, legs straight. Again, let's bend the knees, lift the arms. Inhaling, Utkatasana. And then exhale, just give it away. Release and bow over the legs. Come halfway up, breathing in, lengthening. Exhale, fingertips down, left foot steps back. Touch the left knee down. So squeezing and grounding with the legs, reaching and rising with the arms on an inhale. This time you can bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. And then as you reach the arms back, and the elbows can be bent, they don't have to be straight. Can you draw the front ribs in? Expand the torso evenly. And maybe the hips sink forward and you lean backward a little bit. So this is just a chest opening version of this lunge. One more exhale. And then use your inhale to circle the arms up, reach and rise. And then exhale, bring the hands to the floor and step into downward dog or vinyasa to downward facing dog. So your choice, however you want to transition. Wherever you are, let's find a breath, just an inhale and an exhale in dog pose. And then left leg reaching high. So just take your time with it. You might even imagine that you're pressing your leg like through quicksand or thick mud. So it's pressing through the hamstring and really reaching through the arms and widening the back of the body. And then exhale, stepping the left foot between the hands, touching the right knee down, squeezing the legs in, circling the arms overhead, inhaling. And then hands come behind your back again, exhaling. And so again, you don't have to just arrive 100% right away. Be mindful. So contain a little bit, right? Move into the core of the body. And then as you're sensing that support, the support of the earth, some expansion, some opening, maybe you can lean back on the exhalation, sink the hips forward, and then inhale, circle the arms overhead. And then exhale, bring the hands to the floor, step the right foot forward and fold over the legs. Just come halfway up again, just lengthening, affirming that connection to the belly. And then exhale, softening, surrendering to it, bowing the head all the way in. Let's bend the knees and sweep the arms overhead again. Utkatasana, thunderbolt pose. Just an expression of your power here. And then arms down and legs straight. Exhaling. Okay, again, let's bend the knees. Lift the arms overhead, inhaling. This time we're going to keep the knees bent, sink in a little bit, bring the palms into the center chest, and just explore this. So I like to have my legs together so that I can almost have this feeling of the legs falling into one another and the groin deepening and the sacrum widening as the buttocks flesh drops and the belly draws in. Let's reach the arms forward with the palms touching.
And then exhale, pull the right elbow back, look over the right shoulder. Inhale, reach back to the center. Exhale, pull the left elbow back, look over the left shoulder. Again, to each side. Inhale, back to the center. Exhale, pulling the right elbow, looking over the right shoulder. Again, inhale, reaching back into the center. Last time, pulling to the left, exhaling. Let the arms reach forward and then up as you inhale. And then exhale, release it, give it away, bow over the legs all the way. Let's come halfway up, breathing in. This time, chaturanga or plank, breathing out. Inhale, rise into up dog. Exhale, roll back into down dog if you're choosing that kind of vinyasa. From here, let's have the right leg lift, press, lift, and reach up. And then bend the knee, roll the hip open for a moment. But see if you can roll the hip open without collapsing the sacrum. So can you keep it broad? Keep the belly engaged so it's supported but not rigid, and then stretch from that support of the core of the body. Reach the right leg high again. And then exhale, step the right foot to the outside of the right hand and touch the left knee down. So we're coming into this wide lunge twist. So you could keep your left hand on the floor, turn your right knee and toes out to the right, and place your right hand on your right thigh. So I like in this pose to explore the engagement of the legs that supports a deepening connection to the core of the body, but not a rigidity or clenching in the hips. So you can play with that a little bit, gently. Maybe you're turning your torso to the right. You might even choose to bend your left knee and reach your right hand back to grab your left foot. And then it gets a little bit more complicated, but feeling that engagement of the legs combined with the capacity to surrender a little bit, to explore the space that's here. One more exhale, leaning back, sinking in. And then let's release the left foot. If you're holding it, bring the right hand on the inside of the right foot. And then a little bit different than before. Let's lift the left knee, place the left forearm on the floor, and step the right foot back into forearm side plank on the left arm. Maybe the right arm reaches up and overhead, expanding as you breathe in. And then exhale, let's bring both forearms to the floor into forearm plank. Good, and inhale here, and then exhale, lower the hips down. Ground into the elbows, draw the armpit chest forward, so arriving in Sphinx pose. Maybe you'd like to lift off of your elbows, reach the legs back and down. Draw the armpit chest forward and up into Bhujangasana Cobra pose. Inhaling one more time. And then exhale, surrender all the way down. Good. From here, we can rise either to tabletop or high plank. And then back to downward dog. If child's pose would be better for a moment, do that. Let's just find a breath to connect wherever you are. So this is a little variation from the way we've done this sequence the last couple of times. Let's try the other side. Press, lift, and reach the left leg up and back. Inhaling. And just play with it for a moment. Maybe you bend the knee, roll the hip open. So there's an opening, but not a collapsing, right? So finding the core of the body, letting it support space in the sacrum and the kidneys, in the backs of the ribs as you expand and open the front. Inhale, stretch that leg high from the support on the inside. And then exhale, step the left foot to the outside of the left hand, touch the right knee down. Okay, so again, we're gonna come into that low lunge twist. So maybe turning the left knee and toes out, placing the left hand on the left thigh, and just play with it a little bit. So finding that balance between some
supportive engagement of the legs, feeding into the core of the body. That's not a kind of tightening or clenching of the hips or the shoulders or the face. And then maybe there's some sinking in. You could bend your right knee and reach back with your left hand if you'd like. And just a couple of breaths to explore wherever you are right now. What kind of armor can you surrender in this moment? It doesn't have to change the way things look. Maybe it's just a feeling. One more exhale. And then you could release that back leg, turning back in towards the front of your mat. And we're going to lift the right knee, place the right forearm to the floor, and I place it at an angle. So it's not straight ahead or straight to the side. It's at an angle in between. And then stepping the left foot back, if you'd like, for forearm side plank. Maybe the left arm lifts and reaches overhead. Another breath, just arriving in your fullness, whatever that is right now. And then exhaling into forearm plank. So both elbows down, and inhale here. And then exhale, lower the hips down. Good, arriving in Sphinx pose. So reaching the legs back and down, grounding into the elbows, drawing the belly in, and then lifting the armpit chest. And so it's a progression, and it takes attention. And then maybe you press into the hands, let the elbows lift. And it's okay not to do that. Just see where you are. Another breath, whatever the fullness of that inhale is right now. And then all the way down, exhaling, lowering. Let's have an extra breath to rest here. And exhale to surrender the weight of the body. And then let's start to lift up. So you could rise into tabletop or high plank. And it could be child's pose that comes next. It could be downward facing dog or some combination. Again, maybe somewhere that you could observe the breath, feel the breath, notice the breath. Or the breath really just a gesture again and again of this claiming of your power, expanding to your fullness, the surrendering of your armor, anything that resists. It reminds you of your connection. One more exhale. And then feet to the hands, a lengthening breath, looking up, breathing in. And then exhaling, softening all the way down. It's okay if the knees are bent. Just see if you can release the weight of the head. And then let's bend the knees and we arrive in Utkatasana, breathing in, circling the arms overhead. And then let's stay in Utkatasana, but grab opposite elbows overhead, or maybe it's hands behind the head. And just for a moment, feeling that deepening at the hips, opening of the back of the body, the sacrum, the kidneys, the backs of the ribs, the shoulder blades. One more exhale here, and then an inhale just to reach up and look up, and then straighten the legs and bring the arms to your sides. Exhaling. Arriving here in equal standing. And just maybe settle your gaze for a moment. So a steady gaze with the eyes. We'll come into our standing balance sequence here. And just, you can stick with one piece of this. You can build it, see what works today. So let's bring the palms to touch each other in front of the chest. Settle the gaze, soft gaze. And then inhale, just lift the right knee. And then exhale, cross right ankle on left thigh, and a gesture of just sitting back. So you're taking your seat here, just as you are. Right, so the surrendering, it's a gesture of vulnerability, but
really it's also a gesture of revealing your power, to be fully alive, to be just who you are. So with the next exhale, you might bring your left hand to your left hip and take your peace fingers to your right big toe and settle your gaze. And then on the inhale, you could stand up, opening the right leg to the right. And it could be a bent leg, it could be a straight leg. So this version of Utthita Hasta Padangustasana. Inhaling wherever you are here. Maybe you bring that leg out in front of you as you exhale. Inhale again, maybe just a bow to the knee, exhaling. And then stand up tall, bring hands to the hips, and maybe you reach the right leg out in front of you, stretch it out. Inhale, one full breath here, and then foot down and arms down. Exhaling, back to the starting position, equal standing, just for a breath, to come back to observe. Good, let's bring the palms in. Exhaling. Right, so it's really a practice, the practice of surrendering any part of you that resists this moment. It's really a practice of remembering who you are, remembering your goodness, your power. So if you'd like, you can inhale, lift your left knee, exhale, left ankle on right thigh, and just sinking back again, just taking your seat here for a moment. And you might choose to stay here and just breathe through this whole portion of the class. You can build on this if you like. So with your next exhale, maybe right hand to right hip, you might catch your left big toe with your peace fingers. On an inhale, you could stand up. Let that leg come out to the left, maybe a bent knee or a straight leg or somewhere in between. Wherever you are, arriving in your fullness with an inhale. One more exhale, and then inhale. Let's bring that leg out in front of you, whether it's bent or straight. And then exhale, you could imagine or bow your head to your knee. And then stand up tall, inhale, bring both hands to the hips. Just stretch that leg out in front of you for an inhale, just the fullness of your inhale. And then foot down and arms down. Exhaling, equal standing. Let's inhale, circle the arms, lean back and look up. And exhale, come up and over the hips, bow forward. And then inhale, just lengthen, drink that breath in, and then exhale, step back. Maybe it's plank or chaturanga, or you could step right into downward facing dog. So just see where you are. Let's inhale, reach the right leg high, just like you're pressing through thick mud or quicksand. And then you could bend that knee and roll open without collapsing in the back, maintaining that connection to the core of the body and the spaciousness that comes with it. And then inhale, stretching the right leg high, bringing the right shin forward for pigeon. And just see what this is like today. Right, so accommodating yourself. Let's see if we can stay upright. So even if you're kind of really rolling onto the outside of the right hip to take pressure off, totally fine. If you can, just wherever you are, keeping your torso lifted with a breath in, just observing the fullness of that inhale, whatever it is right now. And then maybe you'd like to bend your left knee, reach back with your left hand and pull that shin in. That's an option. So you could also choose not to do that. One more inhale here, and then exhale, you might start to fold over your right leg, either letting that left foot go or bringing it with you. So many options here. Just exploring for another breath or two. Right, things get a little more complicated. Can we come back? Really to just sensing a connection to the earth, to the core of the body, and how that can free us in a way. One more exhale.
And then let's start to rise out of this. So if you're holding your left foot, you might let it go. You can place your hands framing your right leg, and then maybe you'd like to inhale, lift your right leg all the way up and back into that one-legged dog. You could bend your knee, roll your hip open again, or touch your right foot to the floor, spin your left toes back, and lift into a back bend, lifting your right hand off of the floor. If you're in a back bend, one more exhale, and then we'll come out of it with an inhale, stretching the right leg high again. And then downward facing dog, exhaling. Let's do the other side. Left leg rising, inhale. Maybe you bend the knee, rolling open, exhale. Stretch the leg high, broadening the back, inhale, and then pull the shin forward, exhale, and just start to explore kind of what version of pigeon pose was going to work for you right now. Right? Take liberty with it. Maybe you bend that right knee back in, I should say. Exploring a couple of breaths. Your next inhale breath just to rise and expand. And then on the exhale, you could either let go of your right foot and fold forward, or hold on to your right foot and fold forward. Any amount. And just come back. So really just a practice of connecting, which means surrendering anything that resists this moment, and really tasting the power and the freedom of that. One more exhale, whenever it feels possible to do. And then we'll start to rise, and you might release that right leg if you're still holding it. And we can press into the hands, lift and stretch that left leg up and back, inhaling. You could just roll the hip open or stay right where you are. Maybe you touch your left foot to the floor, lift your left hand, opening into that back bend. If you're there, stay and finish it with an exhale. And then release it, stretching that left leg high again, inhaling. And then bringing the foot down, downward dog, exhaling. Good, let's roll forward over the hands, inhale, and lower all the way down to the belly, exhale. Okay, and just pause and rest for a moment. So I like to stack my forearms and head down on the backs of the hands. Maybe you like something else. Just another full exhale to surrender. Good. And then we'll have a couple of back bends from this position. So let's stretch the arms. These will be familiar to you. Stretch the arms back along your sides, palms up, backs of the hands on the floor. So this is Shalabhasana A and B. We'll do them in succession, rapid succession of one another. So we'll lift the chest and the legs, keep the backs of the hands on the floor, inhaling. So kind of an engagement of the back of the body, lengthening front to back, widening side to side, lifting up and down. One more exhale here. You might just move your hands now. So your palms are on the floor, elbows bent 90 degrees, palms on either side of the ribs, and another couple of breaths, just rolling the shoulders forward, the legs up. One more inhale, and then lower down all the way. Exhale and rest, belly down for a moment. So before we do one more back bend here, you might like a little bit of counter movement. So you could lift to tabletop and then child's pose or downward dog for a breath or two. Maybe it's works better for you to kind of come into tabletop, just kind of move your hips around your back a little bit like cat pose. So you can kind of personalize that counter pose section. And then we're gonna lie back down on our belly again. So you could come forward and lower back down. Yeah. So you could do, again, Shalabhasana A and B, or you could bend your knees, reach back and grab your ankles. This is Dhanurasana, wheel pose. And so I'm going to talk a little bit through wheel pose. Even if you're doing something else, just be with your experience, your breath, the ground, your body. So for wheel, you might explore pulling your shins back, inhaling, exhaling, driving the feet up a little bit. Pits of the knees moving back, armpits moving forward to open the space. And then elevate and soften. One more inhale if you're lifted up. And then we'll all soften all the way down. Exhaling down. Again, a few breaths for a counter pose / transition of your choice. So that could be tabletop to some cat-cow-like movements. It could be child's pose. It could be downward facing dog. See what's going to work for you right now. And then we will come onto our knees. So we're going to come for Ustrasana, camel pose. And if you'd like any padding under your knees, take a moment for that. Yeah. So arriving on your knees, maybe hands on the hips, maybe hands on either side of the sacrum, fingers pointing down. And just the breath in, so receiving the fullness of the inhale. I like to do a shrug of the shoulders and a scoop of the belly. And then the exhale, starting to maybe lean back or tip back. Maybe just hands on the hips or glutes, maybe hands to the heels. And explore it. So these postures especially, I think they invite, maybe in some cases they demand surrendering some of the armor, right? Just to be here and breathe. Another full exhalation wherever you are. And then use your inhale to rise all the way up. And then let's just exhale, touch the palms down. Maybe a little bit of cat-cow, maybe down dog, maybe child's pose. Kind of just letting the energy of it sink in for a moment. And then let's take our seat together. So coming into a seated position. Yeah. And let's just bring the feet onto the floor in front of you. And just for a moment, bring the legs together and heels of the hands onto the knees and just push the arms straight. So just kind of a version of Navasana that's fairly supported, fairly grounded, just to really connect deep to the core of the body. Breathing here. One more exhale. Good, and then sitting back up, inhaling. Let's take the left foot underneath into the outside of the right hip. This is for Ardha Matsyendrasana, and then the right foot comes in a little bit. Maybe the right foot comes to the outside of the left knee. Left hand on the right knee, right hand on the floor behind you. Inhaling, rising through the collarbones. Exhaling, you can turn. Draw the belly in, lean back, pull the back of the head back, looking over the right shoulder. One more breath, just exhaling all the way. And then inhale, just turn the head forward. Exhale, release the twist. Right foot on the floor, left foot on the floor. Another moment in that version of Navasana, legs together, feet on the floor, heels of the hands on the knees, pushing the arms straight, breathing. Just deep engagement, connecting. One more exhale, and then let's do this twist, seated twist on the other side. So right foot comes underneath into the outside of the left hip. Left foot coming in a little bit,
or maybe to the outside of the right knee. And then turning, holding the left knee with the right hand, turning, and just exploring as you breathe. Another breath, just inhabiting whatever the fullness of your inhale is right now, receiving it. Settling in with the exhale, gazing over the left shoulder. And then let's just turn the gaze forward. Inhale and release the twist. Exhale, and then let's roll down onto our back again. Okay, and maybe the knees come in. Maybe you circle the knees around. It could be that you prefer feet wide, knees together, that kind of constructive rest position for a moment. And then let's stretch the arms and legs away from each other, breathing in, stretching long. And exhale, bring the right leg up again, kind of like we did at the beginning. We're just going to do one part of this. So holding the right leg, breathing in, and then knitting the navel down, bowing the head to the knee. Stay here, and you can pull the leg towards you if you like. Just ground through the belly. One more exhale. And then inhale, release the head and shoulders. And exhale, release the right leg. One more time, other side. Arms and legs reach away from each other, inhaling. Exhale, bring the left leg up, maybe holding the leg with the hands. And then inhale, lengthening both legs and the torso. Exhale, curling in. Bowing the head to the knee, lifting the head and shoulders. Stay for another breath. Exhale. And then inhale, head and shoulders down. Exhale, left leg out. And inhale, stretching long. And exhale, just pause. So you might be ready right where you are to rest in Shavasana. You might find that some props or another stretch or two or another posture would be useful. You're welcome to that. Yeah. And wherever you are, in your own way, really settling into that place where you can rest. So eventually, whenever you get there, maybe you already are, you might exhale through the mouth. Shavasana, really the ultimate surrender. Weight of the body resting on the earth. The density, the vastness of the earth supporting the weight of the body. Really, that kind of surrender is an affirmation of your belonging here. How that belonging sets you free, empowers you in a deep way. Just letting it sink into you. Letting yourself sink into it. As you're aware of your next few breaths, it might be an invitation to feel some wakefulness in the body. Maybe stretching the arms and legs away from each other for an inhale, maybe pulling the knees in and rolling to the side on an exhale. And if you can stay on your side for a moment, you might allow that. And then when you're ready, if you'd like to take your seat one more time, you can do that. And of course, you're welcome to keep resting if you prefer to do that. And maybe as you come up, if your screen happens to be in front of you, if you happen to have it on gallery view, you just see one another for a moment. Just kind of an awareness that we're here together. And then maybe you close your eyes and you might even just sense the power of that community. How that invites you to expand, open yourself, receive support, receive nourishment. Remember who you are. And for another moment, maybe sensing what feels important to you right now. And as I've said many times, there doesn't have to be any specific content. There might be, but there doesn't have to be. It's really just the message that you're interested, that you care. And then maybe sensing how this practice might serve you. And if it serves you, it might naturally serve others. How that nourishes you. And thank you so much for being here.